I'd also like to introduce Anna Maria Georgescu from IT Smart Systems, and we've done this earlier, Andrei Yaksizar from XM Bank. So yeah, please everyone have a seat. And have a mic also. Yeah, so we're going to do a panel about digital data science and AI. But before we start, if each one of you could briefly introduce yourselves, and if you would like to start.
Yes, of course, it's working. So thank you for your time and for being here. I'm Anna Maria Georgescu. I'm executive partner of IT Smart Systems. IT Smart Systems is a professional services company. We are a Romanian company with 20 years track record. Thank you.
Okay. Andrei, do you want to have a go?
Andrei Iașișer, Head of Digital Department in IT Unit, Exim Banca Românească, which is a top 10 bank operating only in Romania.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Navika, do you want to do a very quick intro?
I think people know me, guy in front of Ferrari. That's okay.
Just in case
But yeah,
somebody-
okay. Yeah, I missed maybe to say my formal role. So I am responsible for data sales. I'm head of data platform sales for Central Eastern Europe at IBM.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm not really a big fan of theory, especially when it comes to AI. Everybody likes talking, and often there's not so much doing, right? So I suppose my first question is, which use cases are showing the most promise in your industry, and how can companies kind of capture value while maintaining control, oversight, and ethical standards? So Anna, if you'd like to have a go on that first.
Yes. So when it comes to use cases and what we have seen lately, at least in the Romanian market, we have seen an early stage development in which companies are playing with AI and are trying to implement small use cases. I have seen some numbers that are saying that around 3% of the Romanian companies are adopting AI, and which is much lower than the European number, 13. And when it comes to the highly digitalized industries like banking and telecom, the estimation is that around 30-20%. To be honest, I find that numbers quite high. I don't think that adoption is at that numbers yet. We are trying to do also some use cases and implement them on our own. We have several simple use cases. We have, for example, our own payment institution, and we are trying to analyze unstructured data, unstructured payment data, and provide real-time monitoring dashboard with this, based on this data. And we observe that this is also a struggle in other organizations and in banks as well. So using high amounts of data and get out business value from that. Another use case is migrating, automation migration from old code to new code. Also, knowledge base that we have implemented internally, and we are trying to use this knowledge base as a tool for support for our employees. We will see which of these use cases will turn out to be quite useful. I would expect that some of them might fail. But this is something that we see as a normal pace nowadays. Try and fail and learn and try again. Thank you.
Good. Gentlemen, any interesting use cases?
Well, I think an obvious use case would be the operational flows. So banks have digitalized a lot of their flows, and they can very easily add a layer of artificial intelligence now. So, for example, you have onboarding, and you can add AI to make more efficient your know your customer. Other use case would be implying AI into anti-fraud systems. Yeah, and of course the obvious one, use the one that you have with your operation system, and try to summarize procedures, internal procedures, and yeah, you can start small, because actually banks have a lot to work with: compliance, security, risk management. So it would not be necessarily the first user of a new technology like AI, but from what I know, it has the biggest budget in Europe for implementing AI. So yeah, we should start some.
Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this question or not, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Since AI has become more kind of prominent, have you seen like an increase in fraud? I mean, has it been visibly easier for people? Like, has that increased inside the bank, I suppose? Is that visibly?
Well, as we all know, fraud and anti-fraud are moving targets. So we are getting better, they are getting better. For sure, solutions using artificial intelligence can add value to this, and also managing false positive cases, and also respecting PSD2, strong customer authentication, while doing that. So not not going out of the boundaries.
Okay. So it's not crazy. But Novika, any use cases that you particularly love?
Yeah, when talking about use cases, I always like to talk what we do internally. You know, IBM is a global big company with a huge workforce, let's say, around the globe. So running our enterprise is also not an easy task. So since 2023, we have been intensively implementing AI technologies, including the latest Gen AI technologies. And our estimation is that we gained around $3 billion of the productivity gain within this time. So one of the domains that we heavily automated is HR. We have introduced HR Assistant, which is running 11 million of fully automated transactions or interactions globally. And it cut 40% our operating budget in HR department. So it's a huge gain. So for example, most of the things that I'm doing daily as a manager, I don't call anybody. I just go there and fix it. We have some fully automated processes, like, for example, promotion process. So I just don't do anything. There's some analytics crunching data, and then I just get an email: your employee is eligible for promotion. I just need to decide. Still, maybe tomorrow I will not be deciding at all. So it's a good thing to do. Also on the IT help desk side, we did a huge automation there as well. So 1 million of tasks completely automated a year, and also similar number of the savings in the OPEX. On the procurement side as well, we have automated some high volume and low value, let's say, procurement interactions with our external suppliers. So it's fully automated now. It really helps a lot. We also did externally, we have a fantastic use case, what we did with Ernst & Young. We helped Ernst & Young actually to bring their core business in the area of tax audit to the next level by implementing the next generation of the data lake. So they saw basically 80% of reduction in data preparation time related basically for tax compliance for their clients. And that's running, actually, that will be running globally. And also invoice validation, for example. What they are doing, they are using foundational models to extract data from unstructured sources, like, scanned invoices, and then basically infuse that into core tax operations like tax returns, if they are advising clients into that area. And that has also fantastic similar number which help them actually to improve productivity. All of these are visible also in the finance industry as well. This is similar to what we do also with the finance clients. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Sounds like a bad time for accountants and people in HR. I do like the idea of the HR bot, actually. I'm sure somebody's going to try and game that system at some point, so I'll be interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah, look, just a comment. It might be, but on the other side, cutting costs doesn't mean specifically bad time for people. People will definitely prepare for some new things that they can do. Productivity gain does not mean that somebody will stay without job. Productivity gain means that those people that are now having some free times, instead of answering my calls to do something else, for example, on recruiting good people from external world, advising and more helping in coaching people, maybe be included in the low performance processes, to help also to improve productivity, for example, in Salesforce. So many things to be done. So productivity gain does not need to be, negative for people. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course. It's great that people can focus on the high value activities in their work instead of doing the repetitive stuff. So I think that is good for everyone, right? So yeah, this is an interesting thing for me. I mean, until about 3 or 4 years ago, I've been a pure fintech guy, so I'd never really heard the word data governance until I worked on a small data governance product, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But it's going to become more and more important as we all kind of collaborate on these huge shared data sets that we have various different legal levels of use, I guess, for all of them. So yeah, I suppose my question is, how is AI making companies kind of rethink data governance? Anna, do you want to kick off on that?
I truly believe that governance will gain much more importance as we progress with AI, because there is an important questions that needs to be answered when deciding to go further. So AI is using large set of data, is using, in many cases, in many use cases, the company's data that are sensitive or critical data. So how these data are used, how these data are initiated by the internal systems, and how they are processed becomes a very important question. And a lineage solution that will come on top of all the orchestration processes inside the company would become much more important than it is now. In terms of audit, in terms of knowing what you are doing with, in terms of knowing what AI is doing with your data, and in terms to be also compliant, maybe with the regulator, maybe we will see new standards or requirements in this space. So yeah, and that's why each time I'm seeing an AI provider or a new solution that is being discussed, I'm asking myself and I'm trying to discuss with our clients and tell them to have this question always on top of their mind. What is the governance that this solution will bring me? Will I be safe enough? And if we are talking about high-risk industries, and banking is one of that industry, that becomes even more important.
I would like to add at one what Anna said, that governance is actually key for banks. I mean, you can make proof of concepts and test them, try them, but if you have only one model that is not compliant, the AI Act will punish you with 6% of your turnover, global turnover. So that's a huge incentive to do it right from the beginning. Governance shouldn't be anymore just static catalogs, but dynamic pipelines and where you use the data, this should be already governance proof, let's say, when you input it into the model. Regarding this, you have those provisions in AI Act that it cannot just be a black box. I mean, you need to be able to explain your model, the steps for MBR, for audits, for all kinds of, and you cannot defend your model if you don't know the steps. Yeah, and also, if it's a high-risk system, if it's a high-risk model, just use a human in the middle and respect the 14th article of AI Act. So it can be assisted in the first stages, and it depends of the purpose of your use case.
Navika, you have anything?
Yeah. First of all, I echo what you said at the beginning, that a couple of years ago, data governance was not so big topic. I would say it was nice to have. Really, like if you set up your data architecture very well, it's a cherry on the top of the cake. But these days, with this penetration of AI that is happening, that will speed up, for sure, it will become absolutely critical, must have. And I fully echo also what you said. One of the main constraints of deploying AI to mission-critical production is basically trust. This is what I maybe missed to say at the beginning of my keynote. Not only flexibility of choice, but trust. And in order to trust, you need to have ability to control. And we are human beings, we trust each other if we know each other, if we like each other, but in technology there is nothing like that. So you need to have a full control. Full control over data feeding models, it's now becoming really critical. What we see globally, clients are creating roadmaps to implement AI, and they step back, starting now heavily to invest into data governance. Again, I fully echo, not as a static catalog that nobody is looking for, but to something that will be really putting data pipelines and flows which are feeding models under full control. We are approaching time when the agents will do things automatically, and that's a breaking point. You know, these days, yes, we are creating reports, and it's absolutely critical to have lineage and to explain how some data end up from some table to the final, dashboard and the report, specifically if you send to regulator. But still you have some person that will sit down and verify before you send out and make sure that you will not be fined that the data is correct. If you will have agents running around, there will be probably no such luxury. Yes, with AI governance, you'll be able to control those agents, but once they will start executing actions, for example, automatically onboarding clients or doing automated KYC, which is also subject to regulation, then you need to be 100% sure that you know what you are feeding those agents with. And data governance is not a cherry on the cake, but really full necessity. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great, and it kind of leads into our next point as well, where we're kind of talking about, autonomous agents and the idea that there's bots running around doing things where people used to do them in the past. There's the obvious problem is, the accountability. If something bad happens, you can't just point and say the robot did it, right? As much as we'd all like to. So where do you see this kind of affecting how we operate? Do you think the kind of AI Act covers enough against these type of eventualities, or do you think there's going to be a further push from kind of regulators or industry to kind of not automate everything or not create this army of helpful robots?
I think that for the regulators will be harder and harder to keep the pace, because if we are looking at the Digital Act, that act was initiated some years ago, so it's still a work in progress. But since the AI Act was started and nowadays a lot of things have changed, so I think this will be a huge challenge for the regulators or for the national banks, if we are talking about banking, to keep the pace. When it comes to letting the AI to decide, we are entering a completely new paradigm compared to automated AI, which is a little bit more safe, let's say, even that has to be also controlled. So I would say that regulators must ensure stability and transparency and accountability when it comes to decisions, and no matter how these decisions are being taken, if AI agents are being used. And I would expect to see some standards or some new requirements that companies would need to demonstrate, like a certificate, like an ISO XXX or something, to demonstrate that they are safe enough to provide those AI services.
So there will always be new regulations. I mean, security, DORA will also apply on AI models. There are those ethic certifications that try to gain weight also for this model. So yeah, it's a dynamic system also. It depends on the purpose. I mean, will you use a cloud? Will you install it on-prem with the downsides of it because of hardware and all that? Can you make segments, meaning that you have rights of access and also you can anonymize data and use the results? Can you use machine learning but not actually export your customer personal information outside your organization? This is important, and for sure it's a dialogue with the developer of such a system and put it all together from all the law perspectives and what you want to achieve, for sure.
Yeah, look, personally, I'm a believer in regulation, actually. I'm coming from Serbia. I grew up, in the communist regime, so through the school, somehow let's say, my mindset is always that regulation is important and that it should be followed. So I'm personally really a big believer into that, but I'm also a big believer in the market. And I think we are entering the area where you will have different parts of the world looking for the regulation differently. And I think actually the market will be the one that will harmonize everything. What the regulation will do, it will set the path forward. And that way will be more narrow somewhere and maybe wider in some other parts of the world. And market will find the right balance actually to provide real benefits to end business. And I'm truly a believer into that. And that's also the reason why I'm not afraid at all. I have no concern about these technologies because at the end of the day, it's us human beings behind. And I believe that in front of us, even in regulated industries, there are some fantastic things that we can do still. And yeah, that will balance that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I suppose Europe, we love to complain about regulations in Europe. But I think ultimately they have been a good thing, right? When you look at other markets and how they've operated in the past. I mean, when I was getting into fintech, 10 odd years ago, I mean, most of the fintech companies starting up was, step one, get some customers. Step two, sell their data, which is obviously like, it used to work in the US, but it wasn't something that was really relevant in the EU at the time, thankfully. So yeah, it is nice to have some rules.
But you have Revolut in EU, right? Which is
In Lithuania.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to talk about companies, I would be more talking about companies like, you know, Robinhood in the US, who are collecting customer data and then, you know, selling it to the banks before they executed the trades. But I suppose one last question. If you could only focus on one area in AI, just one, for the next 12 months, which area would it be and why? Anna.
These questions about the future of AI are the most difficult ones. So we will continue to work with our clients and try to go in small steps, implementing different use cases, different proof of concepts that allow them to understand the technology and to play with these tools. Of course, we would like to see some live experience as well. So I would say this might be also an objective, to see something live in production, but we will see.
Okay.
So, small steps, I would say. And in the next 12 months, it depends really on the size of the organization, of how developed is at digital level. Is the bank an ecosystem, a digital ecosystem already, and it just make more efficient all their flows with AI. I would not necessarily go to use generative AI for enhancing user experience in the next 12 months, but I would definitely do it for optimizing document processing and know your customer and data cleansing. So starting from the internal processes.
Yeah, makes sense. Build out the base. Yeah.
And then go to agentic and still using RPA for some things. So not just change it and make something new, but grow on it.
Well, definitely I would bet on automation of repetitive work and the work that can be now put on agents. So my response would be agentic AI into that regard. I believe it will happen because it will gain immediate benefits for those who will be implementing that. First of all, it will provide savings, like some examples that I gave, what we did internally. But also it can provide a competitive advantage on the market. So I believe that a lot of value will be unlocked out of that the organization will basically use to move the business to the next level. And honestly, if you ask me, I think in the banking industry, maybe this was a missing point that will really provide an option to be fully digital. Today you have, banking applications everywhere. But what is maybe the constraint not to use it completely for everything? Why do you still need branch? Why do you still need to call somebody? Because that assistant element, it's still passive on the old technologies that we have. So choose 1, 2, 3, which option you like, and then at the end you finish up calling somebody. That will change now, and assistants are becoming agents, even much more smarter because of the power of, pre-trained and very powerful models that will be running behind. So if you ask me also for the future, I don't know if this will happen in 12 months or more, but I could see that this is the missing point that could really lead to, for example, branchless or less branches really business, pure digital, and that will open completely new frontiers. Again, it doesn't have to be something which will be negative at the end of the day. We all need to change probably, so it will bring benefits, I think, for everybody in the chain. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of times the branches are still open because there's so many people who don't really know how to engage with the digital stuff, right? So if you can create something that they can talk to, it's often a lot of elderly people, I guess, it will be.
If I may comment, I fully agree. Actually, I was looking for an interview of Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase and one of the most prominent figures of the industry. And globally in general. He said, we have branches because people want to have them. Simple as that, and I'm not stopping that. I'm investing, he said, billions in AI and everything, but I'm not stopping that. But on the other side, there is also Steve Jobs who said, if I was waiting people, or Henry Ford, if I was waiting people to tell me what they need, I would be having horses, not cars. So I think balance should be found somewhere in the middle, and then, yeah, it will bring benefits to everybody.
Yeah, no, that's the future. The future is here. But thank you so much, everyone. That's the end of our panel.
Thank you.
It's great to have you all. Thank you for sharing such
Thank you.
brilliant insights. Please.
Thanks so much.
Okay. This is actually the end of the focus stage for the next, I don't know, 2 hours or something like that. So please go and get some lunch and beers or whatever.